What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Sin's Chat Corner. This is me, and I've been off of the air for how long has it been? Like a week or so? Yeah, I was supposed to be on last week, that's right, and then I did the big New York trip. Hopefully all you guys took a chance, or took an opportunity, I should say, to check out my Facebook page and kind of see my dastardly, disastrous trip to New York City. So that was interesting, and I'll get into detail about that off the air, obviously, because we don't want to waste too much time yapping about me. Today's guest is on the Canadian side of things. As we all know, I like to do my Canadians, and I like to do them well and do them often. So thank you very much, Michael Stover. Let me just start off by saying, because without you, I wouldn't have this connection to Billy. Billy Grima is an individual that we're going to talk to today, and he's in the music scene, and he's in Canada, and we're going to be talking all things music. But before I connect to him, very quickly, I just want to say to everybody as a big reminder, May 10th is coming up soon, which is less than 3 weeks, grand opening of CHAP, a.k.a. Sin's Heart, Art, and Passion. So I encourage each and every one, whether you live here, whether you live in Chicago, whether you live in Canada, or otherwise, come and visit me. You can stay at my house. You can attend the opening. We're going to have a lot of great talent. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I would appreciate any and all support that I can get for that. So without further ado, instead of me yapping to myself, let's have me yap with Billy and get him on the line. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very nervous, thank you very much. You
nervous?
Sound very, very far away. Yes, I'm nervous. I always get nervous about 5 minutes before I go on the air. It's just a tradition.
Oh. Maybe a glass of wine. It'll calm things down.
Actually, yes, I think I might do that because this is technically an afternoon show, so I could get away with that. So I might have to drink a little, but not yet. I have my senses about me because I want to tell the entire world about how wonderful you are. So how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Very good. Very good. Good. Well, we have a lot of ground that we have to cover. So I'm going to start off with the basics, which is what I normally do. I kind of go backwards to go forwards, if you will. I always like to start at where an artist first began and kind of purge forth. To those of you that are listening that don't know anything about Billy, you performed in the choir at the age of 8 and began writing at a very young age. In terms of, I'm not sure if it was musically or creative or in general, which we'll get into. So let's start off a little bit about asking you about your origin a little bit. Tell us a little bit about being a childhood musician, what that was like, and tell us a bit about the journey that you took to get to singing on a full-time basis.
Well, I was born in Australia, and I used to sing at church. I was in the church choir when I was 8 years old. We did, when I was in high school in Australia, we used to travel a lot to do music shows for old age homes and seniors' homes and the hospitals. But then I moved here to Canada when I was 15 and just kept singing and writing. I've been writing since I was a kid, and I haven't stopped. And actually, I love writing. It's my passion.
So would you ascertain that writing is more of a passion for you than singing?
No, it goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
I love performing. It's just that writing is it brings out a lot in me, because it comes from deep within. So when it comes to singing, I'll sing anywhere. If there's a piano, I love to sing. So it's a great feeling, actually, being on stage. I sing in churches, sing in bars, I sing in concert halls. So wherever you want me to sing, I'm there, basically.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm from the United States, and there are probably most of the people who listen to my show are technically from the United States, let's say, if you will, versus Canada or other countries. So tell us a little bit about that, being in Canada and such. Like, for instance, here in Wisconsin, a lot of our musicians do what we call our open jams or acoustical open jams, things like that, where they'll get together and perform together and things like that, or even perform on the street, if you will. So is that sort of the same musical scene in Canada, or are things different there?
A little different. We do have jam nights and stuff, but they're not as big as they used to be. But you do find them here and there. And I do, actually, every Sunday we do get together up the street here in a small town where I live. We just have a little jam with just guitars. But it's something that would really interest me, actually. I love stuff like that, absolutely. In my younger days, we did it quite a bit, but it was a lot more, there was a lot more of it before. So,
sure, I understand.
Yeah.
I do. I understand. And with the advent, of course, of, and I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but we talk about this on my show a lot. I always like to host Canadians, and I have an entire radio show dedicated to all of you. My Sins Canadian show is literally to focus on anyone Canadian, because some of my dearest friends are Canadians. So all of you seem to have the three same components: class, cuteness, and creativity. I've always said that a million times over, that in order for you to live in Canada, you have to look really good, you have to be very creative, and there's just a sense of class and distinction that you all carry that's very different from us. So I want to ask this question. There's a lot of up-and-coming musicians that stem or base themselves in Canada, I should say. So when they come over to the United States, for instance, and I don't know if you have or not, I guess I should ask that, have you been performing in the United States yet, or is that one of the goals that's down the pike?
That's one of my goals. Yeah, one of my goals.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Would love to.
So let's stick. Oh, wonderful. Well, let's stick to the Canadian side of things then. Do you find yourself in one of the, I don't want to call it a shark pool, but I know that a lot of the musicians that I talk to say that there can be very stiff competition in their neck of the woods, but your style and your method and your vocals are different, per se, than another Canadian musician. So do you feel that pressure, so to speak, to kind of stand out or be unique amongst all the other Canadians because there is such a musical base there?
Yeah, there is pressure. I try to be. I do my best to try to be a little bit different. Let me see. Some people labeled me as country, but then again, at the same time, they're telling me, they can see Billy Joel material in my stuff, like resemblance when it comes to my music. So it's funny how people take it, because I just do it as me. When I was writing certain things, a friend of mine compared me as the Billy Joel of country. So I try to be different. Yes, I put horns in my music because I do love horns. Yeah, it's just a matter of what I feel. I'm a big fan of Joe Cocker. I'm a big fan of hold on, what am I thinking of right now? Hold on. I'm a big fan of Steve Perry and Sarah McLachlan. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a big fan of Billy Joel. So that's my thing on that. I think competition. Yeah, it's hard in this business to make it. I think the idea for me, it's people liking my music is a big thing. I write about stuff, everyday things, personal stuff, and that people can relate to.
Of course. Relatability is a huge thing. I completely understand, and I completely agree with you there. I know that others have told you, or I should say have said in the mainstream, actually I was reading this, and you've been compared, rather, to the likes of people like Jason Mraz. Bruno Mars, I couldn't, I'm like, no, I've listened to your music, and I don't see a comparison to Bruno Mars whatsoever. So I usually like to ask the artist himself, do you feel that you mirror anyone in the so-called celebrity circle? Like, if I were to ask you, do you think your sound is similar to a particular artist or musician, would you think that that's true, or do you think you're just you and that's it?
Well, it's funny you say that, because it's funny when I saw that in the write-up about Jason Mraz. Actually, I had a friend of mine, and she bought me a ticket, but she wouldn't tell me what it was. She said, I have a surprise for you, birthday gift. And went in the car, and she was driving, and sure enough, I said, why are we here? She goes, well, Jason Mraz is playing, and I think you sound like him. Cool. So when I saw that, it was kind of, oh, wow. I don't see that, right? So I see me as me. I do see, I guess, a little bit of Billy Joel in a certain way. But then again, that's my piano stuff. My guitar stuff is me. So I wrote 7 tracks of my album on piano. And then I changed it up and I wrote the last 3 on guitar.
So,
yeah.
Okay. And I know that I've seen you play guitar and I've seen you play the piano. Do you play any other instrumentation, or are you planning to, I should say, in the near future? Because I've noticed that cross-instrumentation seems to be the thing these days for most musicians.
Well, I do love
saxophone,
and I bought a saxophone
a
few years back, and I remember trying to practice it in my room. And, of course, I had my German Shepherd at the time, and when I started playing it, she started howling. So I don't know if that sounded good or bad, but the dog was howling like crazy just when
no.
I do love saxophone, so that's one thing I have in my back burner.
Okay, I gotcha. And as a solo artist, is it your intention to remain solo, or do you think that you'll branch out in terms of just a full-size band?
Well, I do have a band that backs me up a lot of the times. We've been together for over 20 years. So when I say solo, I mean I do things on my own, yes, but I do have a band to back me up, and we've been together for very, very long time. So they were with me on my first album when I had the first album, I'm Just Standing, that came out in '92. So we've been there together that long.
Okay, I gotcha. And have you found any particular influences, and this is U.S.-wise, in terms of musically? Were you influenced or impressed, I should say, upon any of the U.S. artists that kind of pushed your drive? Because I noticed that you're not typical to one genre music-wise. I know you've done rock. I know you've done gospel. Obviously, I would consider it classic or soft rock for some of the things I've listened to. So you're all over the map. So who influences you from let's say, United States point in terms of musically?
There are so many. There are so many right now, actually, because here in the country stuff right now too. But I'm a big fan of Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton.
Okay.
Yeah, big fan of Tim McGraw. Just trying to think what else there would be. And then there's a lot of rock that I like too. So, but the new music, there's a lot of new music that's coming out. Three Doors Down. I love all that kind of stuff. So much talent out there.
Definitely.
It's crazy. I'm just trying to think. I can't think off the top of my head who
That's okay.
The lady singer that I'm thinking of. But
well, oftentimes.
Stuff like Whitney Houston, amazing. I love her stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah. Some of her stuff was amazing. It just there's so many things that go on. Like there's so much. See, when I listen to music, I always listen to harmony. So I can actually and that's how I grew up writing my harmonies. Is when there's a song playing on the radio, I would actually sing harmony to it rather than the actual lead vocal. I'm thinking that's how I write. When I hear a song, I always tend to look for the harmony. If there's no harmony, I put it in myself. Kind of thing. I think, but I enjoy it. It's there's so much talent out there.
Of course, I agree with you 100%. And that brought up another question before I hop to the next topic, which is, of course, explain to the listening audience, because oftentimes those of us who aren't musicians or who write songs, etc., don't have a feel or a sense of what it is that you do. So let's say, for instance, kind of lay out for us what percentage of your week comes down to writing versus singing, etc., and do you have a symmetry or some sort of chemistry that works well for you in terms of combining both of them? Or do you write separately and then play separately? Or how does it all come together for you?
I try to write I write all the time. I could be driving in the car and I have my little tape recorder with me, and I'll be recording certain melodies and whatnot. Like last night at 11 o'clock, I just came up with this melody, and I recorded it on my little stereo thing, and then I was singing it all day. But sometimes I would write. Sometimes I write music and lyrics. Sometimes I just write.
Excuse me.
Part of a song, and then I might come back to it later on, maybe a couple of months down the road, because I just can't finish it. But there are times where I can finish a song within 10 minutes, and there's times where I can finish a song within it might take me a couple of months, because if I don't feel it, I don't finish it. I don't force myself to finish it if I can't feel it.
Of course, makes perfect sense to me. I agree. Now, to those that might have missed the beginning of our conversation, I know you mentioned that your birthplace is Australia, and of course now you're living in Canada. So talk to me a little bit about how long were you in Australia long enough to actually learn the culture and to be a child there and to grow up there, or were you just kind of born there and moved?
I was born there, went to Europe for a bit, went back to Australia. So I was in Australia. I moved to Canada when I was 15. Okay. But I lived in Australia when I was up to 5 years old. Then I went to Europe. Then I went back when I was 12, and I came to Canada when I was 15. I do keep in touch with my friends from high school. It's really cool actually because we have our Facebook thing. We have get-togethers every year, reunions and whatnot. Nice. I've gone down one so far, but I've lived most of my life here now. I mean, I'm a bit older now, so.
Okay, so just a bit older, like a day past 40, right?
Yeah, a day past 40, yes, yeah.
That's cool. Exactly right. Yes. Now, in terms of life in Australia versus life in Canada, as far as that goes and such, I mean, tell us a little bit about, I mean, obviously Australia is a foreign country, clearly, and most of us have never been there. Most of my friends are dying to go there. I don't know why, because all I think of is kangaroos. And I have no burning desire, but it's like, tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in that culture and that lifestyle. How does that vary from, let's say, Canada or the United States?
Well, I was 15 at the time, but it seemed like, life wasn't as fast. Like here, it seemed like it's always a rat race. Unless, of course, like I live in out of town. I don't live in the city. So once I'm driving home, when I pass a certain spot and it's all country, it's like the atmosphere changes, and it's very relaxing. But when you go into the city, it's like go, 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 go. It just seems that way.
Right.
I think also the fact that, the weather is warmer.
Hello? Uh-oh. Hello? Uh-oh, folks, it looks like for some strange reason we have lost our guest, and I have no idea how that happened, so I guess I'll just sit here and shoot the shit up until the point.
Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me? Hi.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
That was strange.
Hello?
I was like, hello, hello, and can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so where were we? You were talking about Australia? Or you're talking about the rat race. That's right. That's where we were.
The rat race, I live in a small town of 500 people here, and it's very quiet, and I love it.
Okay.
But, I moved up in this area about 20 years ago. So 20 years back, it was always constantly cars going by really fast and, just go, 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 go. Out here, sure. I just sit out in my backyard, have a little bonfire if I wanted to, and it's relaxing and take it all in.
Nice. Wonderful. So it sounds like you're a country boy at heart, in which case I have to ask the question, how does a country boy at heart adapt to, obviously the musical scene is kind of the rat race and kind of the fast pace and the competition and the running around. So how does one adapt to such a thing? I mean, was that a transition for you? I mean, to enveloping into that sort of pace and style and that way of doing things to establish yourself as an artist?
No, actually, I've always liked my peace and quiet. So actually, even when I lived in the city, it was, I used to always come up in this area, drive up here. It just, I love nature, and it's just peaceful, and I really take it all in.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so, I came to Canada when I was 15, and I remember going on a school trip, and we came up this way, and I'm thinking, wow, this is so cool. So got my license and used to come up here all the time, and then I moved up here. So, it's I find it very relaxing. So I've always done that. I've always wanted to have my peace and quiet, even though I was living in the city. Yeah.
Excuse me. Now, by chance, can you lay out for us, tell us about the very first live musical performance you ever did, what age you were, where it was located, and tell me the difference between the artist that I'm talking to today and that young man or younger man that was standing on stage for the first time.
First, I entered my first contest when I was 8, and I sang a song by Donny Osmond called "I'm Gonna Knock on Your Door," and that was fun. I came in second, but I was also singing at the church choir at the time. So, the priest said, go ahead and sing. And my nickname with him was Elvis. He used to call me Elvis. At the time, I didn't know who Elvis was, being 8 years old. But, yeah, it was, I just knew right there and then that's what I wanted to do. I loved it.
I gotcha.
I've always loved it.
Got it. Okay. And now, in terms of question for you, I know that you were an attendee of Humber College, of course. Now, is that where you got your musical education, or did you get musical education, or are you more of a self-taught musician?
I did music in college, but it was mostly me on my own.
Okay.
Writing, nobody taught me how to write. It was always me, since I was a kid. But I learned a lot just by writing on my own. Because even in high school, we used to always have little contests and stuff like that, or talent shows. And my goal was to always put originals out. So I did go to Humber College. I did some vocals there. But, they can't teach you how to write. At least that's not the course I took. I took the course for singing to just make it better.
Okay.
And, so that was it.
Nice, very nice. And in terms of when you went to college, or I should say when you went ahead and did that, now a lot of times us United States musicians or people I talk to here talk about the fact that it's so vital and important, or so vitally important rather, that you do continuing education when it comes to your craft. Are you one of those individuals who's a backer of that philosophy, meaning that you have to constantly be pining away and improving upon yourself, whether it's singing or writing, or do you feel that you're at the best possible place you could be educationally in terms of your passion?
Oh, no, there's always room to grow. Always room to grow. So, no. No, it's never enough. They can always learn something. There's
sure.
Endless. It's endless. Yeah. So
okay.
I would say education is...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say education is good. It's a good thing.
Okay. Now, I would like to switch gears a little bit because I find this rather interesting, because I know all of us at some point in time have either turned on our television or turned on our radio and they've listened to an individual. Like, for instance, I used to watch Sons of Anarchy. Now, Sons of Anarchy, of course, the main character is Charlie Hunnam. Obviously, he is he's from London originally. So obviously, of course, you're from Australia. So, of course, you have a very distinctive accent, as does Charlie. But I noticed that when Charlie went onto the program, you could never really tell that he was a London or British actor, because he was very, very distinctive about talking like an American. Whereas you, on the other hand, it is distinctive not only in your dialect in terms of, or dialogue, I should say, between us, but when I've listened to you sing, it appears to me, of course, that your accent just resonates right through each and every song. And so I'm just curious about, I don't want to say people pick on you, but have critics ever come and said, yeah, you can hear that full, thick accent that comes through your music? Do you think that that's a blessing or a curse? Because some people may not necessarily think that's a good thing.
I would say maybe a blessing. It's funny because people have asked me. My parents are from Malta.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents are from Malta. I'm not sure. People have asked me, they couldn't make out the accent where I'm from or whatnot. But no, I think it's a blessing. It is different.
And you're comfortable. I imagine so. Yes, and it comes through, like I said, when you listen to your songs, you can just tell flat out. I can hear your accent a mile away, and I thought to myself, that does distinguish you right then and there. The fact that you sound differently from someone else will automatically kind of hone make your sound more distinctive, which is a good thing, I think personally. But I've listened to your music. Not everybody has. So you guys let me know when you listen to his music if he sounds a little bit different there. Next thing we want to talk about a little bit here is I just noticed that you just had very recently, actually, you were named #1 country video on onlylyrics.com. So talk to me a little bit about that. What does it feel like to have the #1 country video on there, and how did that come about? That's really exciting.
Yeah, that was really cool, actually. That's Calendar Girl. That's a cool song. I wrote that when I was fishing, actually. So, yeah, it was. I had the music written out, but what I did, we went fishing for 4 days, me and a couple of buddies of mine. So what we did is I took my little tape recorder with me, And while they were fishing, I just decided to sit out in the car and just I said I got to finish this. And they came back from the fishing. They came back to the car, and here I am. I got their song, my song. It was the title came out of I was at a gathering, friends gathering, and there was somebody that looked familiar. So I actually asked the lady. I said, "Hi." I said, "You look familiar." I said, "Did you work at a certain spot?" She goes, "No." And I said, "Well, it looks like you look familiar." So I asked her. I said, "I know where I know you from." So she turned back and she goes, "What? Where?" I said, "You're my calendar girl." That's how the title came about. She was just laughing. Yeah, but that's how the title came about. And then I had this. I said, I got to write a song about that. So next thing you know, that's what I did. So I came up with I love the song. I'm a big fan of Joe Cocker, like I said. So I love the song "Leave Your Hat On."
Oh yeah.
And I want to have that kind of groove. And sure enough, that's what I ended up. You seen the end result? It's something I really like. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I noticed that actually when I was watching the video and then listening to the song, and the one resonating thing that keeps coming from every single piece that you do, and this is just my personal opinion, is the message thing. I've always been a huge backer of musicians who have purpose and meaning beside the songs that they sing. You know, sometimes there's dance music and it's obviously sung just for people to dance. In the particular case of your music, it typically has some kind of a message to it, whether it's romantic in nature, whether it's about sorrow, whether it's about happiness. I find it interesting, like I had prefaced earlier, you switch back and forth, it would seem, between having more of a rock vocal and then you can have more of a gospel sound to you, then you can have more of this, pop sort of sound. How do you train yourself to be able to vocally change like that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I just close my eyes and sing. Actually, it's funny. When I'm singing and I feel what I'm singing, it just brings out. It just brings the best out of me. You know what I mean? I was singing at my church choir a while back, actually recently, not too long ago, and I had my eyes closed and I just got really into it. And when I opened my eyes, they were laughing at me. I said, "Why?" The choir, right? And I said, "Why are you laughing?" Because everybody moved away from it because I guess I got so loud. They didn't believe. He goes, "I'm going deaf," because I just let it all out. And, it was really cool actually to see that. It just when I get in that zone, I'm there. I block everything out. So it's a nice feeling.
Kind of moved by the motion of your passion, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's kind of what I thought was the case. Wonderful. Now I want to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a bit about Doonside Music Publishing, which is, of course, your creation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's, I'm guessing, the umbrella by which all of your music is put under. Now, do you carry other artists as well, or is this just a
No, that's just me. Doonside is where actually I was living in Australia before I moved here. So I went to Doonside High School in Australia, and I just decided to name it Doonside Music. So I've had that for many, many years. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's kind of what I figured, but I wanted to throw that out there because sometimes, a lot of times, people will do their music, and then they'll have like an umbrella, or they'll have a label, or have something by which they start out with their own music, and then they just meet fellow artists. Because, obviously in Canada, everybody seems to be either an actor, a model, or a musician. So it's kind of like, that's why I figured you guys would kind of all partner with one another. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's easier to eliminate the competition and work with them instead of against them. Make sense?
That's true. Yeah.
Just my 2 cents. If you all got along and played nicely in the sandbox, I would definitely agree with that. So keeping along the Canadian thing, let's talk a bit about if any of you have not looked at Billy's page before or his website or know anything about him. First off, let me just tell you, you have absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous children. He does. He has absolutely beautiful children. So if you would please tell us a little bit about your offspring, obviously. Have they fallen close to the tree, meaning do they act, do they sing, do they model? And not only that, is it a transition for them to get used to Dad being shared with the world, meaning now, of course, you're a musician. You're going out, you're playing, you're getting recognized, things like that. How does that affect them in their lives?
Well, they've always seen me sing since they were kids. They also sing. but they've always seen me sing. They've always seen me sing at the church or singing me with my band, or doing like festivals and charity shows. Actually, we did that. They sang with me on a charity show. I had a band to do charity work, and we were raising money for underprivileged children.
Nice.
I'm a big believer in that, and so they sang with me, all three of them. And at the time, I think the first time they sang with me, I think my oldest one was probably about 8 or 9.
Okay.
So that was almost 10 years ago.
Oh, nice.
And my little, actually, no, not that long ago. Sorry, I'm just thinking. Hold on. My youngest one was 4 years old. So I'm talking about 6, 7 years ago. Yeah.
Mhm. I gotcha.
Yeah, and so they sing with me. They've sung with me before, and they've seen me sing. So they're used to that. It's and they've always seen me write because every time I have my piano, they can hear what I'm writing, and sometimes I just say, "Listen, I want you to hear Daddy's new song." So it's kind of cool. They sit there and listen. It's nice to see.
I gotcha. Excuse me. And, of course, as a father, would you be the first person to encourage or discourage? Because I've heard some musicians or even actors or directors or producers will tell their kids, you know what, this is a rat race. This is something that you don't want to get into from a professional standpoint. You'd be better off doing something else. Or would you embrace their energy and their eclectic sort of feel for the arts if that's what they wanted?
Oh, yeah, I'm 100% behind them. I think having to have an art, it could be singing or acting. It's a beautiful thing. It just makes you so much bigger inside. I think when you have that passion, you have that gift. Don't let it go, because I think in the future, I think they'll be missing out if they never. I encourage anybody to pick up a guitar or a piano and learn something like that, a musical instrument. It's such a beautiful thing. And I do believe, I strongly believe that, if you have the chance to do something like that, I think go for it, because I wouldn't pass it up, put it that way. No.
Oh, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. I do. Like, for instance, and I'll be the first one to admit it, although I'm probably going to be much embarrassed later when I go back and listen to this again. But, people have bugged me before about singing, and I'm like, I don't have a voice. I mean, I'm sure you're listening to me now. I mean, this is a radio voice. That's a little bit different than having a song voice, I gather. So I guess how does one determine, like, for instance, if you're me, how do you determine if you're like, I can't sing in the shower to save my life, so I'm sure as hell not going to sing out in public sort of thing? Or at what point are you able to determine and say, you know what, maybe I should give a try at the singing thing? What's the basis or formulation of how do you figure out whether you can even carry a tune or not is, I guess, what I'm really saying.
Well, you know what? I think when it comes to something like that, I think determination, because you're always going to have somebody saying you will not make it. I think if you put your mind to it and you try hard enough, I think, you can get to places where, certain places where you never thought you'd be. So, is there an age? Well, I mean, if you love what you do and you love to sing and whatnot, I think nothing should stop you. You have to do it because you love to do it, first of all.
Sure.
You do it for yourself first. Doesn't mean you have to go do concerts or whatnot. If that's something you enjoy, and of course there's always going to be somebody saying, oh, you're not good enough, or somebody's going to be saying, oh, I don't like what you're singing. But then there's always going to be that someone that say, you know what, I think you're wrong. I like what he's singing, that kind of stuff, right? So I can't please everybody. And
of course.
But, you can always do karaoke.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I think you'd feel it if you're. I think you'd feel it if you're good and you think you can get places and you think you can do better. I think you go for it. Yeah. Gotcha.
There you go. And now, of course, you have 3 children, correct? So they're younger, older. Give us a sense of what your family's like.
I have a 10-year-old, 15-year-old, and a 17-year-old.
Oh, my gosh, you're not that old, are you? You're only a day past 40.
I started young. How's that? I'm not that old, though.
I I know. Take a look at Billy's picture. You'll see. He looks like he's a boy. I'm telling you, you look like you're about 25, 26 years old. You're very well preserved. Men have that. It's true. Men preserve very well. Women, well, we just sag and age, but men preserve very well, I have to say. It's just my personal opinion.
I'll take that compliment. Thank you. You deserve more money.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. No, and just to give a sense to people, obviously, of course, you are a very hands-on father just by looking at all the pictures and everything that I've seen. Obviously, you're also very hands-on with your pet. I've seen campfires. I've heard about wine. So if we were to catch Billy on an off day when he is not either performing or working or writing, what would we find you doing as an average, ordinary guy? What does this average, ordinary guy do with his life?
I would probably, on a Friday evening, I would probably sit in my back porch or by a campfire with my dog. Actually, my dog is really cool. I have her on my album cover, and she just happened to, when we were shooting it, we're shooting a video up in my backyard, actually for the song Pleasure to Have Met You, which is coming out probably in a few days. She just happened to be there. I said, just let her sit there. It's cool. Yeah, I love my animals, and but yeah, so usually on my days off, I just kind of relax, and I love, like I said, I love my peace and quiet. So I do like to sit down and take it all in the fresh air. I live by a farm here, and no cars going by and whatnot. And, so I like my kids, having a little bonfire with marshmallows and whatnot, and just relaxing.
Cool.
And
very
maybe a glass
cool.
of wine.
Of course, as any person would have. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to crack one open now. See, now you've brought up wine twice in the course of this interview, so now I have to drink. Thanks a lot. Let's talk a little bit about, and this is again on a personal side of things. I noticed that one of the things that you had popped up on Facebook here is Cheltenham Day. Tell me what that's all about. You did something relative to that. That must be a Canadian thing because I've never heard of it before. So educate me a little bit. What's that all about?
Well, Cheltenham Day is a town I live in. Cheltenham is where I live.
Oh my
Caledon.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Cheltenham Day in town. It's there's, like I said, 500 people in town, and what we do is in the morning we have little soapbox derby and all little crafts and whatnot, and everybody goes out and whatnot.
Nice.
For the day, and then everybody goes home, and at 6 o'clock in the evening we all go out and have a nice big dinner up at the pavilion, and we have the band play. Sometimes I play. Some other bands play too. It's just the town. Everybody knows each other, so it's a nice thing. Yeah.
Sounds like a very small community sort of thing, which is nice. We have those small community things here in town, and I always am a huge advocate for cutesy little things like that. That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
And another personal side of things, you're newly actually signed to MTS Management, which is Michael Stover's gig. Tell us how you got lined up with your manager, because Michael Stover is probably hands down one of the best, brightest, and most talented PR guys out there. I mean, he's fabulous.
Yeah, he sure kept me busy. I actually sent him a package quite a while back, last year, and about a month ago, maybe a couple of months back, he gave me a call. I wasn't expecting it. And he said that he finally got to my package and looked at it, and he liked it, and he offered to work with me, and I said yes, definitely, because I was looking for a man that can get me places, a manager that can get me places, and that's why I sent him my package. I heard he's the best, and I want to work with him. So, it's been really good. He's really keeping me busy, and he's got big plans, and I'm glad I met him. It's great. It's a growing relationship.
Yes, I can see that, definitely. I want to bring up this other element to you because people might not have heard this before. Talk to me a little bit about Pastizzi. Is it pronounced Pastizzi in the Hills?
Oh, Pastizzi in the Hills. That's a Maltese pastry.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, you got to try those pastries. Pastizzis are a Maltese pastry. It's a flaky pastry. Mm-hmm. And I've done baking for a long time. My family used to own a bake shop in Brampton there. But pastizzis are a flaky pastry from Malta. And some of them have usually ricotta cheese or with meat. But I decided when I had that, I used to do that before for myself, and what I used to do is I used to add like make fruit ones or all kinds of stuff like that, and like fruit, apple, cherry, blueberry, and it took off. But I'm kind of I don't want to say a jack of all trades kind of thing. I like cabinet making, but music is always number one.
Of course.
Yeah.
I got
so
you.
yeah, it's a Maltese pastry, and actually, they are delicious and they're very addictive, actually.
That's why I wanted to ask you about it, because I saw it was listed on your repertoire, and I thought to myself, I didn't know if that was your company or if it was your family's or what the connection was. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, all family. It was family. Yeah.
Okay. And it's still in existence today?
No, we sold. We sold, and I decided to carry on with my music. But it's still a good pastry, I must tell you.
Oh, see, now I'm disappointed because I was so gonna hit you up for making pastries that I could actually keep in my storefront, because I'm opening up a storefront in less than a month, and I was so gonna hit you up for that and say, hey, let's have these pastries in my joint. But now you're not in existence anymore.
Oh, well, I can see what we can do. We can arrange something somehow. We'll see.
Yay!
We'll see.
Yay! I like maybe. Maybe is better than no. Definitely. Awesome.
That's right.
Going in the right direction. Yay! I like that. Good. Okay, I want to talk about your music, obviously, because that's one of the best components of you, besides obviously everything else we've talked about here. Let's start again, going backwards. You had originally 2 albums before you have the newest one, which is, of course, the newest one being Sugar and Cream. But one was a rock album called I'm Just Standing, and then the other being A Little Piece of Heaven, which is more on the gospel side of things. So explain to me how a guy that sings like you do gets himself involved in the gospel side of things, because you don't come off, your sound does not come off per se, as having the same harmony that's required to be a gospel singer. Do you follow?
Yeah. I've had my share of pain, and I feel like I owe. So when I did the gospel album, the reason I did the gospel album was, first of all, because I like gospel. I'm a true believer, but that's me. Everybody's got his own thing. I'm a believer. But I want to give something back. So what I did, all the money that I made, I paid for the music, for the recording on my own, and then all the money that came out of it, everything, went to a place called Covenant House in Toronto, which was supporting the underprivileged children. I'm thankful for what I've got, and it's nice to give back. When I was younger, I was very ill. So I thought about giving back. I'm here today, and I'm breathing, and life is beautiful.
Of course. And every moment of it, I would have to agree with you 150%. Tell me something. If you were to classify the new album, Sugar and Cream, genre-wise, in terms of what type of music, where does that fall?
Wow. It's funny you say that, because I think like Sugar, the song Sugar and Cream, I think it's got a bit of Motown in it. There's some songs that would sound a bit of country. Some sound like more new country. And some that sound like rock. So I put it all together. And actually, it's funny because I thought it was going to be like more country. But when I got labeled as with Jason Mraz, and I had some people say it's like, so then also I had some guys from the music industry telling me it's not country enough. So I'm not sure, because then I had other friends of mine say, I had friends of mine telling me, Billy, it's totally country. So I hear Motown a bit, like with Sugar and Cream, or even with like Calendar Girl. It's got, the horns are. It's not a country song. So I don't know. I say it's got a bit of rock and a bit of Motown and a little bit of country. I want to blend it all in together, and that's how I ended up with that product.
Well, since you're the artist, I guess we should ask you, where do you want to end up falling? If you were to pick any particular genre that you eventually want to have as your mainstay, what would you classify that as?
Wow, I'd say new country.
Really?
Well, that's a tough question,
I know it is, but you know you better than I know you, so I'm just trying to get inside your head if you'll let me.
I'm not sure. I just like to write. One day it could sound like this. Oh, that's my dog. And one day it could sound totally different. But I think as I gotten older, I think I kind of want to go towards a little bit of country. But when I say country, not the old country, more the new country. Yeah,
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before I play, of course, the song that I'm going to play today, which is Pleasure to Have Met You, let's talk a bit about the two songs in particular that I have listened to that have moved me. And I'm certain that if other individuals were to purchase or listen to it, they'd be moved in the same capacity. One of which is You Mean the World to Me, which is, of course, dedicated to your children. And then, of course, I Miss You, Baby. So talk a little bit about the messages behind both of those songs and how difficult it is, because a lot of us, like I'm a writer, obviously, so for myself personally, when I write about things that affect me in such a way, meaning that are very close to me, once I start to cry, I don't write anymore. That's my thing. If it makes me cry, I won't write about it.
It's funny you say that, because that hit the spot, because you see, there's a lot of times when things come from really deep within, I do cry. Mm-hmm. It's funny, like I Miss You, Baby was one of them, and so was You Mean the World to Me. You Mean the World to Me was about my kids. So there's a little story about that. My older daughter had said to me, when I said to her when she was about 4 years old, we were in her school, and I said, honey, I love you. So she pulled me aside. She goes, Dad, you can't say I love you in front of my friends. So I said, okay, so what do I say? So we came up with Don't Forget. And then my middle daughter, same thing with her. The same thing happened, and we came up with the word forever. And then my youngest daughter, we just said, I love you. So in that song it says, I love you forever, don't forget. It's part of the song, that's what it says. That's what the note says. I love you forever, don't forget. And that's the message between me and my three daughters. And they were each, so Don't Forget represents my older daughter, Forever represents my middle daughter, and I Love You represents my younger daughter. That was truly from the heart. And a lot of home videos in there, in the video, if you've seen it.
Yes.
And then when it came to I Miss You, Baby, was I wrote the chorus part in high school. And the rest was, I had a friend of mine that had breast cancer. And what we did is that we were tying balloons on our mailboxes on the day she was going through the operation. But I also had other friends that had my friend's wife had breast cancer, and so I had to write a song about that. When I was tying that pink balloon to my mailbox, I'm thinking, this is amazing. So I put that song together, and I put myself in, if you watch the video, is how I imagined it when I was writing it. Just a husband being inside the house, and his wife walks in the house with some bad news. That she's got breast cancer. And she passes on. Now, my friend did not pass on, but that's the way I took it in my story.
Sure.
And then it came to today. My chorus said, today I write I, where I used to put we. Last night it was us, but now it's just me. I am so alone, it hurts me so much to think of your kiss, your tender soft touch. I miss you, baby. But I wrote that in high school, that part there, so I needed to put that in there. So that's
absolutely beautiful.
And I'm a big supporter of cancer, for finding a cure. It's just a terrible disease, but we just gotta take every breath as our last. That's what I say.
You betcha, definitely. The other song that I wanted to mention, I don't want to forget about this. Now, Pictures of You and Me, that is dedicated to the military, correct? Or that was a song that you did?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, talk to us a little bit about that, where that came from.
That came from, actually, I wrote that song for my daughter to sing in her talent show at school when she was about 8 years old. But I wrote it for me, but I want her to do it first. So I just want to write something about the armed forces, because the way I imagined it at first was having a daughter or a boyfriend or a wife or a husband to go into war, and it's saying basically then what happens is the person's watching the news and they mention the name. We live in a free country. We owe so much, and when it's just we owe these people so much, going out there risking their lives. I mean, it could be police officers, could be anybody,
right.
But that really hit me, and I support the armed forces all the way. So and I'm very thankful.
Of course, as we all are, certainly, definitely. Now, give us an intro into. I'm about to play your song. Pleasure to have met you. Explain to us. I'm guessing, is this somebody that you met and formulated this song, or how did this one come about?
Well, it came about meeting your soulmate. That's how how you feel about meeting your soulmate, and enjoying their company. You meet your soulmate, you just want more. You want to be with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, I would say, pleasure to have met you, which is so true.
Aww. Nice. Very, very nice. All right, folks, We'll let you be the judge. I'm going to let you take a 3-minute rest and me a 3-minute rest, and let's play your song, and let's see what the folks think. This is Pleasure to have met you.
I can't help think about you and me, and how we drive each other wild intentionally. You whisper in my ear, pleasure to have met you, dear. Babe, I must confess, can't get enough of you. We sit by the fire, overlooking the lake, in a little cab, a little hideaway. You turn the radio on as we dance to a song called Sweet Savannah. And you said, pleasure to have met you, baby. Oh, how we drive each other crazy. We ain't gonna fight this feeling, it sure feels good. Did you fancy walk with your high heels on? Tell me what you're thinking for the night is gone. Babe, I must confess, can't get enough of you. We drank a glass of wine as we sat by the fire. You told me all your secrets and your heart desire. Now I gotta tell you all that's on my mind. Oh my, my. Oh, pleasure to have met you, baby. Oh, how we drive each other crazy. We ain't gonna fight this feeling, it sure feels good. I need you, baby. You drive me crazy. It sure feels good. Pleasure to have met you, baby. How we drive each other crazy. We ain't gonna fight this feeling, sure feels good. Yeah. Pleasure to have met you, baby. Oh, how we drive each other crazy. We ain't gonna fight this feeling, sure feels good. We ain't gonna fight this feeling, it sure feels good.
See, now, when I listen to that song again, now I can see where the Jason Mraz thing comes in. Can you see it?
Do you? See, I
now
don't.
I can, now that I listen to it like that. I mean, when I heard this recording versus like when I watched on YouTube or when I was on your page and I was listening to it, and I'm like, it's just different. I mean, but I could tell in the beginning chorus that that is a Jason Mraz kind of sound. When you get off with me, go onto YouTube and listen to that song Lucky, the one he does with, what is that, Colby Calais or somebody. I'm lucky I'm in love with my best friend, blah, blah, blah. You'll hear the pitch. You'll hear what I'm talking about. And, I mean, you're not identical, but I can see, that's funny now. Oh, wild. Now I can see it. It's weird.
Well, he is a great artist, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Definitely. But no, don't get any confusion. Billy is Billy, and you are distinctive as it relates to yourself versus the sound of someone else, clearly. Now, before I forget, we have a couple different business things to do. Can you believe that this whole hour just came and went so fast? Wasn't this crazy? It went so quick.
Absolutely.
Wasn't it? I mean, was that a good thing or a bad thing? Did we do okay, do you think?
I think we did great. I wish it could be longer. We should sit down and have a coffee together.
Well, we could arrange that, actually, because, let me just finish the business stuff, and you'll hear what I have to say. So, first of all, I'm going to read off all of these different things for the listening audience in case they want to find you. So, listen to all these first. Let me know if I've forgotten anything. Billy has a Facebook page, obviously, and Billy is the first name, and the last name is spelled it's Grima, which is Grima. So, you can find him on Facebook with his actual name, his website being billygrima.com. He has a Twitter handle, which is and then GRIMA_Billy. His music can be found on iTunes, YouTube, Amazon, CD Baby, SoundCloud, and Reverb Nation. Have I missed anything?
No. That's pretty good. Yeah,
that's my job. I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of finding the new album, Sugar and Cream, that's all the different places that they're able to get it because it's out now, correct? I mean, it was just recently released?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then
it's mostly through iTunes, basically, or actually I usually sell them when I perform, but the best place to get it would be iTunes at the moment.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
and now, are
iTunes,
you giving,
like you said, or all the things all the places you said, Amazon.
All the other places.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've gotcha. And CD Baby. Now, do you happen to have any upcoming gigs? Do you have upcoming gigs that are scheduled either in Canada or other places where you'll actually be playing out in public that people should be aware of?
Actually, that's in the planning. I would love to come out to the States. We're just playing in Toronto a lot, just trying to promote it. And we're thinking maybe going toward like Prairie Sound and that area. But I'm not too far from Hamilton. Same thing. So, in the Ontario area, in the planning. We're doing that right now. As for the States, I would love to come out that way and do some tours here and there. It'd be kind of cool, actually. I'd love it.
Oh, cool. Wonderful. Yeah, and a lot of times musicians, I went onto your website, but I didn't see where you actually had a booked gig yet or places that you were playing at. So I just wanted to clarify to see if you and your band or you yourself would actually be playing out someplace that people could catch you at.
Yeah, I do both. I do both with the band or without the band, sometimes just by myself. Yeah.
I gotcha. So if I asked you really nicely, does that mean that you'll come to Wisconsin for my grand opening and then you can come and open jam with all these wonderful musicians here? If
that would be May 10th.
It is
That's
May 10th,
idea,
actually. Yes, it is a great idea. And what's nice about coming, when I have Canadian friends, I don't know if you know Nikki Middleton. I tagged her today on Facebook. Nikki Middleton is a model and an actress and a spokesperson, and she does 1.5 million things. So she's my Canadian, and I know that you're mutual friends of mine with Ed Roman, who has visited our show before. Ed Roman's one of my favorite Canadian musicians of all time. And I'm going to try to twist his arm. So there'll be Canadians here, there'll be Americans here, there'll be a theater room here, there'll be art, there'll be biker stuff, mob stuff, art stuff, my truffles, because you're not the only person in town who bakes. So I have my truffles that almost everybody likes, except for my friend Willie, who can't stand them, or wait, he doesn't eat them, or I can't remember. Anyway, so I cook and I bake, and then you get a chance to see me and my children and my friends, and come and play your music, and then you could bring me some pastry too. That would really be nice, wouldn't it? I think you should do it.
Yeah, we'll have to. That sounds pretty good. Actually, Ed Roman, he doesn't live too far from me at all, actually.
Oh, my God, and he could bring vegetables. Because, you know, he
Just
grows
by
his
luck,
own
he
food.
lives about 40 minutes, not even, probably half an hour away from me, just north of me.
Oh, cool. That is
Yeah.
really, really cool. I'll have to talk to him about you, I should say. That's awesome. So, yeah, I wanted to throw that out to you in terms of that. You know, then this way, then you would know that you can come for the grand opening, and I, of course, will be coming to Canada in June when I have a little time off when my kids are gone. So it'll be kind of nice. I always like to keep my friends/celebrity interviews all together because everybody that comes on that show of mine eventually becomes one of my friends. And I do hope that that will be the case in this regard. There's only one more thing I have left to do. And this is customary for me to do at the end of every show that I do, and I'm basically going to tell you what I think of you. This is my 2 minutes to tell you my impressions of you, Billy. But before I do that, I just wanted to very quickly say another shout-out to, and I'm sure you would reciprocate in this feeling, to Michael Stover, of course. Michael, if you are listening in or eventually when you listen to this interview, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Michael is one of those publicists that I have that I've been working with for 2 or 3 years, and he brings me the most amazing talent, not just because you can sing and not because you can play an instrument, but because the part and parcel of the person that's behind the instrument or behind the vocals is just as amazing as they are on stage as well as off stage. So thank you, Mr. Stover, for bringing me an absolutely wonderful guest in Billy today as well. All right, Billy. Give me 2 minutes to tell you what I think of you, and then you can get off the air. How does that sound?
Okay.
Does that work for you? All right.
No,
so
I'm
here's
nervous.
my impressions of you. Oh, you should be. So this is what I want the listening audience of the world to hear about Mr. Billy here. First thing I learned about this person, the minute that I looked onto his Facebook page or I checked out his website or I looked at his videos or listened to his songs, is I always look for real and genuine. I was so particularly moved when I watched one of your videos and I saw a segment where you felt so particularly moved and drawn in by the material that you actually were shedding tears. That sort of real, sort of raw feeling and emotion is what's lacking in music today. You are not a commercialized artist, which I am very impressed by. You are not an artist who goes out for the almighty buck. He's out there to make a name for himself, but in the most humblest of ways. You have a very kind demeanor to you. You have a very timid-sounding voice. But behind that voice, once you start to vocalize and harmonize, some of the most beautiful sounds come out of your mouth. You're very gentlemanly and very respectful. You're to those that don't know, he's actually a very intelligent fellow, to tell you the truth. And he isn't a seasoned veteran when it comes down to being out in the music scene for years and years and years. But what I think will make his mark in terms of Canadian history as well as in the United States musically is the fact that he has set himself aside as a musician with a message, as a man with meaning. And nowadays, that is the perfect combination to become the perfect artist, whether you live in Canada, Australia, or the United States. I feel myself very fortunate to have hosted you today. I look forward to the opportunity to twist your arm to have you come for my grand opening. And if I have my way, you'll come right on my big old front lawn, which is the size of a football field, you and Doug Briney and a couple other artists, and we'll have another big open jam, and we'll celebrate my birthday right here, right on my front lawn, if you'll have me, or if you'll come here, I should say. That's it. That's all I got.
Well, I'll tell you, that sounds great, you know. I'm going to see if I can arrange that. So, and
that would be wonderful.
I want to thank you for having me on your show. It's
Of
great
course.
talking to you. And
Thank
I want
you.
to thank Mike Stover once again. He's making things possible. And also at the same time, this is a dream. And having people like Michael and people like you helping artists is an amazing thing. So
Thank you very much. It's very kind. Oh, of course, anytime. And don't be a stranger. You better have your butt back on this radio show sooner than later, talking about all you have these 50 million hits and how you're going to be nothing but a sensation. So I look forward to the time where I get a chance to talk to you again.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, Dal. Well, you take care. I'll talk to you later today.
You got it. Okay, cheers. Bye now.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, that was Billy Grima. Let me go through one more time. He's got a personal page, of course, Billy, the last name spelled Grama, website, billygrima.com. His Twitter handle, again, is @Grima, and that's Grima_Billy. Music, again, YouTube, iTunes, Amazon, SoundCloud, CD Baby, and Reverb Nation. I was going to pump his whole I can't even pronounce it, Pastalini in the hills, but unfortunately, as you heard, it's a family business that exists no longer. So please, please, please support the efforts of Mr. Billy Grima. Like I said, I'm going to twist his arm so we can hopefully have Ed Roman, Nikki Middleton, Billy, and then 3 or 4 other celebrity friends of mine to come for the grand opening. So reminder once again, May 10th. Don't forget, mark your calendar, 6 to 10, even if you can stop in for a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. If you're a musician in particular, definitely stop out because it's going to be an open jam. We're going to have theater going on, art going on. We're going to have drinking going on. We're going to have me babbling some more. What a surprise. Thank you so much once again to Michael Stover. Thank you once again to the listening audience for taking your time and your patience and your effort for listening. Want to remind everybody tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, actor James Quinn is going to be coming onto the show, best known for his role in The Dark Knight Rises. So please make it a point to mark your calendars or to listen to the archived episode. Me, myself, and I am about to race out the door to my new storefront because I have to go meet some vendors and start setting up shop. So I'll be out and about later, kids, if you happen to be local. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys in the morning. Have a good night.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.